Stewart Cherry, how are you?
Good to meet you.
Good to meet you too. The public demanded that I flew over to follow up on our podcast. It was so good.
Yeah, well, I was really expecting a second one. I'm glad we're not doing this in the bath. I know last time we did it. That was really important.
So we weren't both in the bath?
No, not this time at least.
So, bit of time difference. Stuart calls me about candidates, and I'm usually in the bath. Anyway, bit of a funny thing to share at the start of the podcast. It's been a long couple of days. Keep that on your head.
I'm so sorry.
All right, so you're taller than I thought you were.
Yes, I know. Yes.
So disappointed in that. Everybody at meet is 6'4" over here.
Pretty much.
It's killing me. All right, so long form one we did before, covered your background, all the rest. Today we're going to talk New York.
Mm-hmm. Yes, good.
How long have you been here?
I've been here 3.5 years at this point. I moved over in September 2015. When we set up, I think I said to you last time, when we set up the business, we had done so in early 2015 based in the UK. So after about 7-8 months, we were at the point where we need to get over here. And yes, we moved over then.
So just you, we're in a cool wee workspace here.
Yes, yeah, we moved in here about a year ago. So when we moved over, there was myself and 5 of my colleagues. And as of today, we're at 43 in the office. So yeah. 43.
So you must be outgrowing this now, right?
Yeah, we've actually had to expand. We're in Midtown Manhattan on 5th Ave here. We've had to expand our office space twice since we purchased the place in May of last year. Just due to the size. And the great thing about, not to talk about WeWork, but the great thing about WeWork is they have flexibility in order to do that. So we've been able to scale up. You know, we've added probably about 15 people in the last year. And it's enabled us to grow, and we're currently going through another extension at the moment.
Where's most of your growth coming from? Which markets do you need to invest in?
So again, a few of the things you were looking to know in terms of the hot markets and so on, but because we are the markets we work in, and I'm going to demonstrate my multilingual skills here. I speak obviously Irish, English, and American English. So the niche markets that the Americans will understand, markets that we work in, be it actuarial, underwriting, finance, and IT, those markets are all very scalable in terms of our expansions. And the big two that we're seeing right now are certainly the IT market, which again I know you're not planning that yourself, and finance. And accountancy. That market's huge for us.
It's funny, I'm finding that I'm getting better talent, finance talent from the UK, wanting to move over here. Maybe I'm getting a lot of IT people that want to go to LA. Are you seeing a lot of good talent coming from the UK in terms of finance profiles, or what do you see most of?
It's a good question. We see so much, certainly people coming from the UK. I've seen a lot recently, and actually even here in the States, from likes of construction and engineering markets, manufacturing markets, especially in places like the Midwest here. You know, those markets are great and they're fantastic. But for me at the moment, the amount of people wanting to leave the UK to come to the US, to Australia, maybe you've seen in the Middle East, is I've never seen it higher.
Really? Do you think Brexit's?
I think maybe just Brexit, you look at margins, you know, what is the average margin in the UK now? Maybe 15%. You know, average fees are 10k if you're lucky, £10,000 if you're lucky, and you can come over here and our average fees are like $35,000. I know it's more expensive being in New York, and we can get into that in a second, but you know, the actual commercial value of being here for business and for individuals, I think a lot of people in the UK have twigged onto this and realised, I'm slogging my guts here in incredibly competitive markets with reduced margins, with smaller fees, with a hell of a lot of uncertainty, and predominantly pretty bad weather. Now, I know you brought the snow with you today here, but generally speaking, I think it's, I honestly don't understand why you wouldn't consider an international move if you got the opportunity to do so.
Preaching to the choir today. The only time, if we didn't have the 2 kids under 2, I think we'd be out here already, right?
For sure. For sure.
Actually, it's the longest time we've spent anywhere in the last 10 years is in the UK in the last 2 years. So we just had a meeting with Jeremy Witzel, who actually works with you guys, but they help contractor management and insurances behind all of that.
Yeah, sure.
He said there's 90 firms in New York,
Mm-hmm.
either working from the UK in New York,
Yeah.
or and he said probably 50 of them have offices here now.
Yeah.
That's insane. Where do they all come from?
Oh, it's insane. Like, I mean,
Even in the time we've been speaking.
oh, easy. Like, and that's the thing. I mean, you look at even Rectorex, for argument's sake.
That's right.
When we landed here in 2015, there was no Rectorec that we were aware of in the US, and a handful, yourself included, there's a handful that we had looked at, in the UK. But again, the US was a market that very few people had much of a grasp on.
Yeah.
No one had really penetrated. No one had a really good grasp of Americans that are here, or Brits and Aussies, Irish that are physically here.
Yeah.
But in the last 3-4 years, it's exploded. It really has, and obviously for businesses such as ourselves, we've been able to grow. But I'm sort of glad we came when we did, because we've been able to lay down foundations.
Yeah.
We've been able to get board level investment at that early stage. But it is a massive. There's a scrap for talent.
Yeah.
Like more than we've seen at any point that we've been here. But I think the good thing, for consultants, recruitment consultants out there, and that are interested in the US, the one thing with more British firms here, with the American firms here, you've got a choice now. You've got options. And I'll be honest, I think we as a business, and I as someone who does hire, I'm glad that people have options.
Yeah.
And if I interview someone and they're only interviewing with us, I tell them to go out and interview with other businesses.
Yeah.
Because it's a big decision.
No, it's a big decision.
Huge decision. And I don't think you can fear competition. You've got to sort of embrace it and enjoy that.
From our own business, when we started doing this, I mean, there was like Walters and Page and S3. We didn't really do much work with the Frank Group, but there wasn't much outside of that.
Yep.
And then as soon as you guys arrived, every quarter there 3 more popped up.
Yeah.
I think we'll probably have to change our status and start hunting for people in the US, because there's so much here now.
Yeah.
Are you getting much luck getting people from other firms that are over here? Is your strategy to build up from grads in the marketplace to supplement the international stuff?
Mm-hmm.
How does that growth look for you?
It's a really good question. I think for us it is diversifying how we work. And we've discussed this at length previously, but we aren't just a business now that are saying that we've worked in the UK, this has been successful in the UK, and we are going to demand that this happens here. We are evolving and adapting to the environment as well. I had a really good interview with an experienced chap earlier on today, and we were just talking about this, that you can't expect to get 360 recruiters that you get in the UK here. You just cannot do it. Yeah. And I think there's a number of reasons. The way that the contract market is here now, and the perm markets, they're different markets. So for me, contract is really, it lends itself to this 180 model.
I agree.
And actually in many ways, there's three key components of recruitment that everybody knows. There's the sourcing, headhunting side. Yeah. There's the account management, and then there's the cold business development. Yeah. And in many ways, what we're trying to do here is provide platforms for people to do all three, i.e. in a 360 role, or people to do one of those roles and develop themselves. Because there are people who, again, are phenomenally good at one of those aspects. Yeah. Great, well, be the best you can be at that, because there's a market here. Contract, someone would like to either manage an existing client or bring in new clients, great. We go out and try to find people with that experience. Yeah. People who enjoy the candidate piece, great. We've got markets, we've got desks, we've got teams that can facilitate that sort of experience. Yeah. And I think that's how we've developed, in terms of the growth model. Again, grads, people from the US, people from overseas, we will look at them, and our growth plans are extensive, as I'm sure.
Look at them, but they're still fussy.
You can't.
Yeah, you're dead, right?
But the funny thing is, I think it's so important that you do not dilute the quality. Sure. I think what you need to look at though is, where is that quality and what does that quality look like? Yeah. Quality on the candidate side can be different than a 360 recruiter. Sure. But it's what you're hiring, and I think this is really a key point, that you get your strategy right, you get your systems right, you get your processes right, because you can get someone who's quality at candidates.
So you have to, as a leader now, you're going to have to retrain your management team to be able to drive those.
Yeah,
new
no,
initiatives. That's a busy number to go. Actually, guys, we're not doing the same thing we do in every other. Has that been a big challenge?
You know, it definitely has been, but I think it's what we'd rather do now at 40 people than try to implement Word 120. And I think it's a good time to do that. And ultimately as well, you know, for managers, you know, when you step up from, you could be a 9 out of 10 consultant, but when you become a manager, you're 2 out of 10, and you're learning your trade, and you're learning how to be a manager, and or associate director, principal, whatever you may be. And I think it's part of that training and development. But you know, it's not easy, you know, and I think anyone who's a billing manager out there, they are the most sought after, in demand, required skill set in any business, because it's the toughest gig.
It's a tough gig. So let's jump into that person who's sitting in a room in Manchester who used to be you, who used to be me. They're 3 years in. What actually, tell me, what does their background look like if they're going to move to the US now?
There's the what we want and what we need.
Let's go through both.
I think first and foremost, what you need someone, if you've got a degree, you need 3 years of recruitment experience.
You're a stickler on that, aren't you?
I wish it was me. It's unfortunately the government. It's the administration.
Some lawyers are a bit more creative than others.
Again, some people write fiction, some people write fact. And I think just to save yourself a lot of worry and anxiety, 3 years and a degree is what will guarantee. You have a better chance of being guaranteed. Granted, there's no guarantee. You will be stronger than that. If you do not have a degree, you're safer looking at 4.5 to 5 years experience. They do say in an ideal world that you will come from the market or a market, but I don't think that matters too much. For me, if you're a manager, you can get a manager visa. If you're a specialist, you can get a specialist. So that's the legal aspect. For me though, ultimately, you need someone who is positive, someone who's going to work hard, and someone who's got fire in their belly, because this is not an easy market.
I thought it was easy. Everybody's making loads of money.
They're making loads of money, but they're working really hard for it. You know, they say it like it's the Wild West, and you go digging for gold, but you got to go
digging all the time
and digging deep. Because one thing I found here is that clients here are not impressed easily when it comes to candidates.
Really?
Yeah, your service offering and all that sort of stuff is really important, but it's about delivery. And
you get one shot.
You do really, and the whole. I've interviewed plenty of people, and they say, you know, if I'm English or Scottish, Irish, Welsh, Australian, whatever, my accent, it doesn't matter. Damn, not in New York. They've heard it a million times before. Right. It's about delivery, and I think that's what we've had to go through. And just being better than your competition. But I think to answer your question, you've got to have those things. You've got to be prepared to work hard. You've got to be prepared to be resilient. You know, because it's not going to happen overnight. You know, you're not going to come in here in a whirlwind and get deals in the first couple of months. You do need to put some time into it. But that resilience, patience, etc., is important. But I think someone who's just backs themselves, that truly thinks that I can challenge myself in one of the most demanding marketplaces, one of the most demanding cities on the globe, and come over here and make a success. Because you can, if you've got the right attitude, if you've got the right belief, and you're a sponge. My boss Oliver talks about this all the time. You can have rocks and you can have sponges. And if some of you absorb information, and if you want to get better, I think that for me is the key thing.
Do you ever wonder what your life would be like if you had just sat in Manchester?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then you can take that further and think, well, what happens if I just sat on that actuarial contract desk that I decided was asked to leave in 2013 to set up our short-lived oil and gas market? But you think about it all the time, but what's the point? So move forward. So somebody's been lucky enough to get through the process with you. Get in. You're saying to them, look, it's going to be tough. How long does it take before they can start living a bit, cashing the checks? Again, like playing devil's advocate, that's up to them. But I think you need to give yourself at least 6 months. You do there's a big commitment. If you're moving companies, say you live in New York and you're moving companies, first and foremost, there's that. If you're maybe moving markets, there's that. If you're immigrating countries,
Yeah.
new city, there's that. So there's a hell of a lot that's thrown at you in your first 6 months of moving into a new company, let alone city, culture, country, etc. But I think you give yourself 6 months to get your feet under the table, to become acclimatized to where you're at. And a point I would always stress to any new hire that we make, especially if they come from overseas or they move to New York from another city, get a life outside of work as soon as you can.
How are you doing that?
I think you have to. You got to get a routine. I got to play soccer, football, a couple of times a week with some
Still
guys.
a routine?
Yeah, I try to at least. Anyway, going goals more than
Really?
often. Occasionally, just doesn't make you like background.
Right.
I'm tired basically, so I use that as an excuse. But I think you need to do that. I think it's a phenomenal city, and you can do things here that they don't necessarily need to break the bank.
Yeah.
But I think it's so important to be active. Look for networking groups. Look for, I don't know, people who are doing improv drama, they do dodgeball, they do softball, that they go to like shows, they get cheap tickets.
There's always
something to do, and I think that helps because there's no point coming to New York to work every hour God sends and then go home and maybe catch something on Netflix and then go to bed. There's just no point doing that because you can do that anywhere and pay a hell of a lot less rent.
Yeah.
But I think that's so important. Take advantage of living in a city that doesn't stop, but a city that can provide you and give you so much if you're actually prepared to go out and take it.
We talked to you about, let's go back in a wee time machine.
Mm-hmm.
What would you have done sooner or different if you could start your time again in America? As a leader, as a builder,
I think I wish I'd read more. I wish I was never a director until I moved here.
Yeah.
So I was learning that. So I think I wish I'd read a bit more. I wish I had sought advice from people maybe outside of my industry or outside.
Wish you had a great podcast to listen to.
I wish I had a great podcast to listen to. Stand down,
so good the name is right.
That's okay. Yeah. But I think for me that was a key thing. The research is obviously massively important, and what are you doing to prepare yourself coming here? I didn't research enough about New York. I don't read instructions. I don't like that sort of stuff. It's too time consuming. I just do it. But I really wish I had been planned and organised a bit more. I wish I had prepared myself and researched what it's like to work in America and with Americans. I think that would have been a key thing. More than anything, I think I've been very, very helpful and adapt quicker to the market.
Let's talk about that research thing.
Yeah.
Your best people have choices, right?
Mm-hmm.
And right now, as we mentioned, 40 odd firms in New York, UK recruitment firms, a lot of guys like you, and we've met them all week.
Yeah.
It's fun to be around, they're successful guys. They're all selling something. What type of questions should you be asking yourself about your process if you have that choice of 3 or 4 firms? How should you approach that yourself?
I think it comes down to a lot of what your motivations are and what you want to do long term. You can pick up a job here that may pay you a very good basic, and you can be here for a relatively short period of time. Is coming to New York a life experience, or is coming to New York a serious life decision that you want to make? So you got to understand what your actual motivations are, and then ask and analyze. What business do I feel will enable me to achieve the goals that I want? What business matches what I want in terms of motivations? What business shares the vision that I have? Of course, you got to look at processes. I think you got to look at things. What's their growth strategy? What's their retention rates? What are the top billers? What are the markets like? I said this to a guy last week, and unfortunately we lost out on him in the end. He had like 4 offers, but I said to him, ultimately, go with your gut. If you have a chance to meet businesses, great. You can really go warts and all. If you can, to just move it slightly, if you have an opportunity, people I speak to from overseas that, especially UK and Ireland, I asked them, have you been to Europe before? No, I haven't. Look, it's 6 hours on the flight.
I know, right?
You can get a flight over here for maybe £300 or euros. Get over here, invest a grand in it for a weekend and check it out. Just check it out. Ultimately, if you think you're good enough, you can afford to spend the money to come over here to see. And I think that's really important. But I think you ultimately got to go with your gut. You got to do your research on businesses. Again, I interview so many people, as I'm sure you do, that have gone to a business that hasn't worked out, it didn't do their due diligence, and like, it didn't work out. Well, like, again, don't be lazy.
Yeah.
Don't be lazy. This is your career. This is your life.
Yeah.
You've got to take responsibility. Everyone is going to sell to you. Everyone is going to present the best possible picture for you about what their business can offer.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing that, you should do.
Yeah, right.
But at the same point in time, take responsibility, take accountability, research yourself, ask difficult questions.
Do you get asked difficult questions of people?
Not enough.
I bet you don't.
Not enough.
Yeah.
It's important. I mean, you don't want someone to be a yes man or a yes woman. You know, that's what we're told. You got to challenge clients, and in interviews, challenge, ask questions, ask the difficult questions, ask the questions that you may feel are, I don't want to say rude, but maybe close to the bone. But
yeah,
why the hell not?
Sure.
Why the hell not?
Okay, a couple of lifestyle questions.
Sure.
What do you love most about New York? You're not allowed to say the energy.
The energy. What I love most about New York.
You can say the energy.
No, it's not that. I think it's just the variety. You really can. The food's great. Nightlife's really good. The day life's really good. There's so much you can do during the day. Like, it really is. I think that for me is one of the key things. The variety of actually living here and enjoying various things. You've got 8, 9 professional sports teams you can go watch.
We got the Knicks last night.
Oh, did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was great.
Did they win or lose?
We were so jet lagged.
We
had to go the last quarter.
They probably lost. I think they lost nearly 19 out of 20 home games.
When we left, it was very close.
Oh, really? Well, that's good enough.
Yeah.
They don't do ties or draws here about it.
We got the pictures,
Did you get a big foam hand?
we held back just on that one. We were like, oh.
Next time. Yeah, I think that for me is just great, and there's just so much you can do. And again, in a relatively, you guys, don't especially, you look fantastic, you look exhausted. It's such a relatively small area.
Yeah.
We've been around in circles.
We have, yeah.
But even it's like getting out to Brooklyn, getting out to Queens, even over to Jersey and stuff, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
And you don't need to be spending a fortune over there. There's some excellent food, some excellent nightlife, some really fun things to do, and that for me is great. You complete variety of things. That's
Any frustrations?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's expensive.
It is expensive.
Yeah, 3-4 months of the year, the weather's pretty challenging.
You're from Northern Ireland, it's pretty challenging there.
Yeah, no, it's not just the weather, but it's it is, and it is busy. Like, fair point. Like, we're both from
the wind
rural Ireland,
yeah.
and you put up some
subtitles will be coming up.
Subtitles will be on. It's a good thing we didn't start drinking before this. We definitely would do. But I think for me, it is challenging. It's very busy. It is incessant. Just doesn't stop. It can be pretty pricey. At times. Again, you can shop around. Of course, you can. It doesn't have the convenience factor for me that the UK has.
Really?
It doesn't have a Tesco's Metro, is it?
Mm.
It doesn't have those things where you just pick things up just around the corner for relatively inexpensive. That's just not the way, at least Manhattan is. You go out further, you might be able to do that. But the weather, it's just all, and I hate using this phrase, it's awesome. But from April time through to the end of the year, honestly, it's such a fun place to be because there's just stuff happening, weather improves, it doesn't rain a lot.
Yeah.
And that's just it's a great thing. But yeah, you got to put up with some pretty challenging weather.
The size and scale of the US just blows my mind. Because we're in the south of England now. Every little town looks the same.
Yeah.
I come here and I'm like, just to be 25 again and have that to run that clock again and be able to do that. I'm sure we'll get to.
It's funny because is it a young person city? I don't really think so. I think it's a city that is a bit like.
But if you have kids, I think it's probably a bit more.
Well, there's definite challenges there. Of course, it is. And again, do you want to be in a 2-bed apartment? There's 4 of you. You just don't, do you? Not when you can be in a house. Whatever it is that you have.
Massive hooks.
Massive hooks. Especially after this podcast and you sell the rights somewhere, you do really well. But I think for me that's the great thing is just being able to get out and see. But the scale is massive, yeah. But then again, you know, from New York to LA is what, 6 hours, and you're passing over a whole bunch of fields, a whole bunch of barren land, and a whole bunch of towns in Middle America that are identical. You know.
Any new offices on the horizon?
Yeah, Charlotte is happening in the summer. We're moving to Charlotte, North Carolina.
You go down?
I will be splitting my time for initially. I'm not going to move full time.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got a good team and squad of people that are moving down there, which is quite exciting. So Charlotte's will be our second office. Really good place for us. A lot of business down there.
Yeah. Big fintech area, isn't it?
Yeah, big fintech, good insurance, just good general financial services. You know, really good spots.
Do the Atlanta market from there. So.
Exactly. You've got Georgia, you've got Florida, you've got Texas, you've got exactly. So it's a really good spot. It's like 2 hours from New York.
So that's the next big focus.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing at the moment.
How does that work? Do you move down like 3 leaders or?
Yeah. So we're moving down. A couple of the leaders just put up their hands and asked to sort of seize the opportunity. But you know, that's you think about it. We grew from 6 people to 42, 43 here in New York. And it's taken us 3 years, but the platform's there and the foundations are built. So we'll be scaling up our operations down there gradually. Again, it's not diluting quality, it's the right people on the right desks at the right time. But yeah, I think it's a really exciting opportunity for us and one that we're very much looking forward to. So
want to picture yourself for somebody who has just moved over here, been really successful in the UK.
Yep.
Bit of a different market here. What type of things, because you've seen so many people come and be successful or come and not make it, what type of things do they have to adjust to be successful in New York? Well, what would you take with you, what would you leave behind?
I think you can be successful here, of course you can, if you've got that 360 background, because you're used to doing everything, you know.
Sure.
I think, as Louis mentioned earlier on, so much for me is about your mindset, and you have to remember that it's still, the market here in recruitment is still 5-10 years behind that of the UK.
Yeah,
it is.
In terms of the saturation.
Yeah, just the saturation, but also just, again, you're educating clients. You think about contract recruitment here, so much opportunity, but it's a difficult one to do because you are still educating people on not using consultancies, educating people on the benefit of contract, educating people on, you know, how you can use contractors. All those sort of things that you take as standard in the UK, you have to bring with you here, and therefore there's a required patience that you need. And I think just generally speaking, to expect the fact that you can just come in here, you can hit the ground running, and everything is going to be hunky-dory, and you'll be popping champagne bottles, you know, within the end of week 2. I really hope you can, but the reality is you've got to learn what people are like here. You've got to realise that, you know, companies here are investing hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars every year on their own internal teams. That's what they're doing to mitigate using agencies. The great thing about a business like ourselves or some of the other companies, if you're a specialist, if you're coming in to be a recruiter in a specialist agency, great. Now, you will get that eventually. You will be able to be successful. But again, you have to learn your market. You have to learn the styles of the candidates, the styles of the clients, how they like to work, but where can you influence? How can you move away from being a recruiter, forget being a recruiter, be a consultant, be consultative, take charge of these situations and demonstrate the value you can add and explain to them why you're doing what you're doing. I think that's one of the most fundamentally important steps a recruiter who's coming from the UK, who's been successful, can do over here. You know, don't come over and say, in the UK, this is how we do it. You know, just say, look, this is how I tend to work. How does it fit for you? I think this is really important.
Bet you'd love to hear that from everybody who comes over.
You would do, but I think it's natural, isn't it? You know, you think you know better, you think just because you've done things a certain way.
We've been there, haven't we?
Exactly, you've been there and you say, oh, go back in my day or whatever else. It doesn't, you know, no one wants to hear it. You know, again, but explain why. It's always explaining why you're doing what you're doing.
And it's funny, this topic has come up, and in agency recruitment, our egos are built up because you're part of the machine, you're doing great. Like, and then you think that you can just do whatever you've done in that market to another, it's going to be the exact same.
Yeah.
So then when they come in all fired up, you have to kind of go, no, you're still great, but just maybe just adjust this. So for you, you have to do stuff that doesn't deflate their ego, but at the same stage.
It's like, that's great, that's fantastic. We're just going to simmer you down slightly here. All right, let's take 5 minutes. But no, you're absolutely right.
And then you pump them up again.
I think it's like energy is brilliant.
Yeah.
It's just directing, channeling, and focusing that energy in the right place.
Yeah.
I think that's the big thing.
Fine.
Yeah, no, that's perfect.
Brilliant.